Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Du Bois Sports Podcast. We're going to dive in right here in a second. I'm here with Tristan and Ethan. So let's get started. Tristan, first question is this game a must-win for Boston or the Warriors?
To me, this is a must-win game for the Boston Celtics. The Warriors were to win Game 5. Then they will have to go all. Then they will have all the momentum in this series shifted to them as they go back to Boston for Game 6. If the Celtics go down 3-2, then they will have to deal with the pressure of playing well in an elimination game in what is known to be a city that has a very hostile fan base. Plus, 2 of the next 3 possible finals games would be in San Francisco, where the Warriors are 10-1 in the playoffs and 31-10 in the regular season, which could play a very important role for the Warriors the rest of the way.
Okay. Ethan, is this game a must-win for Boston or the Warriors?
I definitely think it's a must-win for the Celtics, just because the Warriors have home court advantage in Game 7, and they'll just have all the momentum going into Game 6. And I don't know if the Celtics will be able to hold Game 6 Clay.
Okay. I think that this game isn't a must-win, but whoever wins will have a ton of momentum going in to the next game, because then they'll be up in the series, and they'll probably play better knowing they're up in the series. So, and like Tristan said, the Warriors are really good, home court advantage, probably better than the Celtics. So, if the Warriors win, then they'll have a good chance. If the Celtics win, they'll have a good chance. So, we'll just see what happens. But I do not think it is a must-win. Second question. What are your guys' predictions on who will win? E, start us off here.
Okay. I think this game could go, honestly, either way. But I think the Celtics' defense and offensive rebounding will get the best of the Warriors once again. I mean, they have dominated the boards in the last few games. I think they'll continue to do that. So I got the Celtics winning this game.
Okay. Tristan, what are your predictions?
I think that the Golden State Warriors will handle business in Game 5, heading back to Boston with a 3-2 series lead. I think that Steph Curry will continue to be dominant, and Andrew Wiggins will have another big game, who had 17 points and 16 rebounds in Game 5. I also think that Klay Thompson will also have another big game, who had come out of a shooting slump in Game 3.
Is that it? Okay. I think that the Warriors will come out on top because they have better players. Like, Andrew Wiggins went off last game. He had more boards than Robert Williams. A small forward has more rebounds than a center. That just shows you how bad the Celtics were at rebounding last game. So, their team hasn't been looking good so far in games 1 through 3, but they finally showed up in game 4. So I'm thinking that they have a really good chance now with this momentum. And I think the Celtics will somehow take game 6 when the Warriors win game 5. And then the Warriors will take it to a game 7 and end up winning. Because who knows? Warriors are fighters. Celtics, I don't know. We've not really seen them in the playoffs very much throughout the years. So, question number 3. Who are the key players and factors for the game tomorrow? E, start us off.
Okay. So, I'm going to say this right now. For the Celtics, I'm going to say definitely Jaylen Brown. And then the biggest one I could name for the Warriors is Draymond, just for the defense. Jaylen Brown, because he's just dominant on the offensive side of the ball. And then also, I think Al Horford will play a big role in the game. He's kind of underrated, and he can really rebound, he can play defense, he can score the ball. And he hasn't ever made a finals appearance, so I think he'll take that seriously and he'll win his first one.
Okay. Tristan, key players and factors for tomorrow's game.
For the Warriors, obviously it's Steph Curry, who's averaging 34.3 points per game. Then you got Klay Thompson, who's averaging 17.3 points per game, and Andrew Wiggins, who's averaging 16.5 points per game.
This is in the playoffs.
And for the Boston Celtics, to me, it's Jaylen Brown, who's averaging 22.3 points per game, and Marcus Smart, who is averaging 15.5 points per game in this series. And key factors for the Warriors for me is the third quarter. The Warriors have maintained their stranglehold on the third quarter as they have outscored the Boston Celtics 30-24, which increased their third quarter margin for the series to plus 49.
Wow. Where's Jason Tatum at in the Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown? How many points per game is he averaging right now?
22.3.
Oh my. Compared to Curry's what?
34.3.
Oh my gosh. I think the key factors in tomorrow's game is going to be locking down Jaylen Brown, who's probably the best player, and we'll touch on that later. And if he does his job of guarding Tatum and Klay can lock down Jaylen Brown, or whoever's guarding Jaylen Brown, if they can do that, I think they have an easy win. And if Andrew Wiggins can get some boards, same with Kevon Looney and all those other bigs, if they can get boards, we can win. Because what happens when Andrew Wiggins has 16 boards in one game? Oh my gosh, they blew him out by 10. So, the Celtics, they need everyone to win this game. It's not just going to be a Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown game. They're going to need Daniel Tice and Mr. Robert Williams, who's having less rebounds in the last game than Andrew Wiggins. Like, how do you let a small forward have more rebounds than a center?
Zach, let me ask you this. Where is Kevon Looney on that list? Because he should be on that list.
I don't know. He should be, but he's not.
Also
He's not getting the minutes that I think he deserves.
Well, they need to have him more rotations because they need a taller lineup, and Kevon Looney provides that, and he will provide more rebounds.
I know.
Possibly more offensive rebounds, which could lead to more points.
Also, by the way,
I think they need to keep Andrew Wiggins in as long as possible, because if he's getting those boards, oh my gosh, what are the Celtics going to do?
By the way, 10 points, blowout.
Okay.
10 points is not a blowout, bud.
Klay's also got to step up, okay? That's all I got to touch on for that. Question number 4. Who are the biggest concerns for each team heading into the game? Tristan, start us.
For the Warriors, to me, number one is rebounding. The Warriors gave up 15 offensive rebounds in Game 3 and were out-rebounded 47-31 in that game. But the trend that the team that wins the points in the paint also wins the game held true in Game 4. So Warriors finished with 38-32 advantage in that zone. Boston's Jaylen Brown led all players with 12 points in the paint, while Steph Curry led the Warriors with 10. Followed by Andrew Wiggins, 8. Second thing is the offensive rebounds. To me, the Warriors finished Game 4 with a 16-11 advantage in offensive rebounds. and a 19-12 win in second chance points. Andrew Wiggins led all players with 7 of his 17 points coming off second chances. And for the Celtics, next thing is the points off turnovers for the Warriors. The Warriors finished with 19-7 advantage and points off turnovers for the second straight game of Boston. And overall, to conclude that point for the Warriors have scored 52 points off Boston's 35 turnovers in their 2 wins and scored just 29 points on Boston's 25 turnovers in their 2 losses. Now for the Celtics, really the big thing for them is the turnovers. When Boston's have turned the ball over 20 more times in the playoffs this year, they have gone on to win. They have gone on to lose. However, when the Celtics turn the ball over 15 or fewer times, they can really be hard to beat. So that's what I got for that.
Okay. E, your turn. Take it away.
Okay, so I think one of the biggest concerns for the Warriors is definitely rebounding. I mean, they gotta hold the Celtics off of offensive rebounding. Also, if I had to pick a player that goes in that category of biggest concern, it'd be Draymond. Draymond is a prime example of a concern. He's been close to getting ejected or thrown out, ejected in a few games. And I don't know, if that happens, then momentum will definitely shift to Boston. And then for Boston, I think definitely a concern, like Tristan said, it's the turnovers. And a player for them that'd be a concern would be probably Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench scoring a whopping 1 point. So that's what I have to say.
Okay. I think the biggest concern for the Warriors is Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is the best player on the Celtics.
But how is he the concern?
If he's the best player, then you lock him down. Jason Tatum won't be able to do anything if you got Draymond on him in the paint, guarding him. And if you got Marcus Smart, 15 points isn't going to make a difference in a game. 15 points. The Celtics' biggest concern, Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins. Combined with a little Klay Thompson in there, too. It's going to be one great game if this is a defensive game. It's going to be really good. I'm telling you right now. Okay, question number 5? Yeah. What is the biggest X factor for the rest of the series? You start us off.
I think the biggest X factor for the rest of the series, for just like stats, I think keeping the ball with your team and not turning it over basically every other possession will be a big X factor. And then the points in the paint and the offensive rebounds, second chance points will just be heavily involved. And then a player, I think the biggest X factor for the Warriors is probably Curry. If he performs, they do good. And I think Jaylen Brown and Tatum, and then a little bit of their bench, is also kind of an X factor. So
yeah,
whether or not Jaylen Brown and Tatum put up like 40 or 50 combined, that's a good game for them. So
yeah. Tristan, let's hear what you have to say.
To me, for the Warriors, they obviously have to be able to shoot the ball well from 3. And like I said earlier, the offensive rebounds, second chance points, be able to limit the Celtics on the offensive rebounds. And to me, also, another thing that the Warriors need to be able to do the rest of the series is push the ball in transition. Now, for the Celtics, they got to be able to make three and match the Warriors in terms of that category. And basically, the other thing for them is to limit the turnovers, because the Warriors have been taking advantage of that in the first few games of the series. And when we go back to the Warriors, the last thing I'll have to say to this is to play better defense on the Celtics when they shoot threes. As you've seen in the first few games,
Al Horford had a ton of threes.
They're starting to, they're letting guys like Al Horford, Derek White get hot from three, and all of a sudden it's starting to become a blowout. So that's what I got with that.
Okay. Let's see here. The biggest X factor is going to be the Warriors bench. Jordan Poole, I think, will go off in one of these next 3 games. If he does, I think the Warriors will win by at least 10.
Pool party.
Yes, it will be a pool party then. If they do that, it'll be a really good competition between these two teams. Kevon Looney can grab a bunch of boards when he's in, and Jordan Poole can light up the 3. They have a really good chance of winning. I got nothing else to really touch on there. That's pretty much it for X Factor wise. So we're going to hop into question 6 real quick here. Predictions on the rest of the series. E, what do you got?
Okay. Game 5 in Golden State. I'm gonna have to go with the Warriors in Game 5. I think it'll be a defense game, and the Celtics will have quite a few turnovers, and the Warriors will win the points in the paint battle. And they'll just get hot from 3. So I got them in Game 5. Celtics in 6 with the tough Boston crowd. And I think they'll catch fire from 3 off the Warriors' kind of lackadaisical defense, other than Draymond. And then with the momentum in their favor, I think Boston's got it in 7, just simply because of the momentum they have in Game 6. And they'll have Golden State tired going into Game 7. So I got Boston in 7.
Okay. What are your predictions on the series, Tristan?
Game 5, I absolutely think the Warriors will just dominate, take care of business in Game 5. I think they'll feed off the crowd, which will be huge momentum for them. And then Game 6, I think it's going to be close for 3 quarters, and the Warriors just pull away with the championship caliber team that they have. So I got the Warriors in 6, and Steph Curry is going to end up with his first Finals MVP.
His first Finals
Yes.
MVP? Okay. So we know that Game 5's in San Francisco at Chase Center. The Warriors have that favor. They have a really good record at home. They're gonna win Game 5. Then they're gonna fly over to the Celtics Stadium in Boston.
You mean the TD Garden?
TD Garden. And then they're going to play a tough game there, back and forth, but they're going to lose that. The Celtics are going to run away with it in the 4th quarter. And then I think, since they're going back to Chase Center in San Francisco, Warriors will take that and win in 7. So that's all I got. Here's a debate for us. Next question is, Jaylen Brown a better player than Jason Tatum? E starts off.
Okay. I think Jason Tatum as of right now, is the better player. If I had to choose someone who resembles Kobe Bryant the most, it'd be Jason Tatum. They share the exact same moves. Jason Tatum looked up to Kobe as a kid, used like basically all of his moves, and he gets open, gets off a bunch of shots. He can hit threes, and he can hit tough shots just like Kobe. So
Tristan, what do you got with the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum
To
debate?
me, from watching this series, it's not even close. Jaylen Brown is the way better player than Jason Tatum. I mean, watching this series, Jaylen Brown looks like a better overall player. He's making threes. He's playing defense. He's giving up the ball when he needs to. With Jason Tatum, I mean, he'll have a good quarter and then he just disappears for the rest of the game. I can even tell when he's on or off the floor. I mean, just to be honest with you, in Game 4, he starts off hot with 12 points, but as the game progresses, his impact diminishes. In the second half, he shot 2 of 9, including 1 of 5 in the fourth quarter. And after knocking down 3 of his 4 long-range attempts in the first 2 frames, Tatum went 1 for 4 from beyond the arc after halftime. So to me, Tatum is not clutch, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Boston Celtics try to get rid of him after this year. To me, I think he's trying to resemble Kobe Bryant too much instead of working on his game and what he needs to do to improve. So if the Celtics lose a series, Jason Tatum is going to be the reason why they lose.
Yeah.
So I would like to see all my attention is going to be on Jason Tatum and how he performs in this game, especially late in the game if it's close.
Okay. Because you want to see those clutch moments.
I'll be watching.
Yeah.
It's going to make or break my opinion on him for the rest of his career.
So, like Tristan said, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum tries to resemble Kobe way too much. We know he liked him as a kid. Jason Tatum needs to try and beat Jason Tatum, not anybody else. When he's out on the floor, do you see him playing point guard or shooting guard? Do you see him doing that? No. You see him playing small forward, power forward. He's not Kobe Bryant. Kobe was a whole different player with a way better work ethic. Nobody will have a better work ethic than Kobe Bryant. So, with that being said, Jaylen Brown is the better player. He's better in clutch. Jason Tatum has only made like 1 shot in the clutch this whole series. Out of how many? Like 10 shots? Throughout the quarters and the games? Yeah. So, with that being said, Jaylen Brown is the best player on the Celtics right now. And there's not really a debate there shouldn't be really a debate over that. Like, that's not even really like a big deal, but Jaylen Brown is the better player, and Jason Tatum just needs to play his game because he didn't do good in Game 4. So, on to the next question. Can Klay Thompson repeat or improve his performance from Game 3? Tristan, start us off.
To me, I mean, from Game 4, he can only improve. I mean, first 2 games, he was struggling shooting the ball. But ever since he's come out of his shooting slump, he started to find his rhythm. He's, like in Game 4, he hit some big shots for them, especially in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left. He hit a 3 that put him up 95-94. So to me, he can only improve from here.
Yeah.
And I think he will continue to dominate.
Okay. E, what's your take on this?
I think he will improve a little bit. I don't think he's going to score that many more points than he has. I mean, honestly, I don't believe that he can go like from however many points he's gone to like 30 some just with the magic spray and poof, he's magically a
Hey, but
Go
Game 6 is
all
coming up. You
NBA
got
first
Game 6
team.
Clay.
and Clay, he'll improve by a few points. He'll get a few assists and a few boards. So that's my opinion.
I got Klay Thompson throughout the first 3 games was already at his worst. And you can't get much worse than that. He's going to get better from here. His performance is going to grow. Or it's going to be repeated. If it's repeated, then we're good. He's fine averaging 20 points per game. If it grows, oh my gosh, the Warriors are going to do a ton better. And so, if that goes on throughout the series, Warriors have good chances. That's it. Next question. Who for the Warriors can impact the rest of the series besides Steph and Klay?
I think their bench warmers can impact the Warriors, and I think Draymond and Kevon Looney need to get rebounds.
Okay.
To me, mainly I think Draymond. The last 2 games in Boston, I feel like the crowd got to his head. I liked in Game 2 how he was physically setting the tone early, being aggressive, making the Boston Celtics feel uncomfortable. And to me, he also needs to stay out of foul trouble, and he needs to do get more assists, rebounds. I could care less about how much he scores as long as he's contributing in that. And to me, Kevon Looney, obviously getting rebounds, offensive rebounds, getting the Warriors as many points as possible. And obviously their bench, you can't just have Steph, Klay, and Wiggins, and every now and again Poole scoring. And you get guys like Otto Porter Jr., Gary Payton, those guys getting
Kevon
going.
Looney.
So, to me, those are the people who can impact the Warriors. So.
Yeah. The most impactful player, I think, for the rest of the series will be Andrew Wiggins. He's proven that he can out-rebound a lot of people throughout this series. He can score 20-plus points while getting 16 rebounds like he did in Game 4 and having a bunch of assists, too. And so, with that, he's going to be the most impactful player. With him, you'll have Kevon Looney, like Tristan said, Gary Payton, Otto Porter Jr., and many others. Probably not many, but you'll have those other players with him. And Draymond Green, also, if he plays defense really well, then we're going to have a pretty good game. So, that's all I have. Last question for today. Who were the top performers from Game 4? Start us off.
Okay, for the Warriors, if I had to name 3 that stuck out to me, Andrew Wiggins double-double with 16 rebounds and 17 points. Curry with 43 points, 10 rebounds and 4 assists. And then Klay Thompson with 18 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. And for the Celtics, Tatum with 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. Jaylen Brown with 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. And Marcus Smart with 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists.
Okay. Tristan, what do you got on this?
For me, it comes down to 4 players for the Warriors. Steph Curry, obviously the leading scorer of the game with 43. Then you got Klay Thompson, who ended up with 18. Andrew Wiggins with 17. And then Jordan Poole off the bench with big 14 points. And then as it pertains to the Boston Celtics, although Jason Tatum faded away in the second half, he ended up 23 on 8 of 23 shooting, which isn't very good. And then Jaylen Brown, 9 of 19 shooting, ended up with 21 points. And then Marcus Smart, 18 points, 7 to 8 shooting. And then off the bench, you want to talk about contributing. Derek White with 16 points on 3 of 5 from 3 and 5 of 5 from the line. So that's what I got.
Okay. So, Game 4. You have Curry, the leading scorer, with 43 points. And Tristan already touched on that. With that, you have Jason Tatum for the Celtics, leading scorer with 23. And he only shot 8 of 23 from field goal and 3 of 5 from the free throw line. On the rebound side, Wiggins had 16 rebounds. 13 were defensive and 3 were offensive. Robert Williams had 12 rebounds, 8 defensive and 4 offensive. On the assist part, we got Draymond Green, which of course would have a lot of assists. He's not really a scorer. He's a defender and a passer. He's one of those playmaker defenders type of guy. He had 8 assists and 2 turnovers. And Jason Tatum had 6 assists and 6 turnovers. When you have 6 turnovers and 6 assists, that is not going to end well for the Celtics. And as you can see, they lost by 10. So, that's my take on it. I guess they were even on total turnovers. They both had 16 turnovers by the end of the game. And their field goal percentages, Golden State had 4% higher than Boston. But Boston shot it better from 3 with a 5% difference. And Golden State just killed Boston on rebounding with 13 more rebounds than Boston.
Also, one thing to add, how is Steph Curry only getting 1 less rebound than Kevon Looney when Kevon Looney has 11 rebounds and Curry has 10 rebounds in a game?
10 rebounds is good for a point guard. So,
You think?
really? That's pretty much it. So, we're going to end it off here, guys. This is Du Bois Sports Podcast, Episode 2. We're signing off. This is Ethan Taylor and Tristan Taylor. See you next time, guys.